two ways of being loyal. Loyalty is one of the most celebrated words in football. Fans sing about it. Clubs build statues around it. Legends are remembered because of it. But football rarely asks a harder question. What does loyalty actually cost? Is loyalty staying even when everything around you is falling apart? Or is it giving everything you have and knowing when your chapter is complete? For decades, Liverpool has been a club built on emotion, on memory, on players who didn't just wear the badge, they carried it. Two of those players came from the same city, from the same academy, from the same streets that lead to Anfield, Gerrard and Trent Alexander-Arnold. To many, they represent the same idea, local boys who lived the dream, symbols of what loyalty looks like in red, but their stories unfolded in very different versions of football, and loyalty asked very different things from them. One stayed when success was never guaranteed, when leaving might have meant trophies, but also guilt, when loyalty demanded sacrifice. The other grew in an era of dominance, of systems, projects, and modern careers, where staying was a dream fulfilled, and leaving did not necessarily mean betrayal. This is not a story about who loved Liverpool more. It is not a judgment. This is a story about how football changed and how loyalty changed with it, because sometimes loyalty means staying through pain, and sometimes it means knowing when your story is complete. Before we speak about loyalty, we have to speak about context, because loyalty does not exist in isolation. It is shaped by timing, by opportunity, and by the world around the player. When Gerrard came of age, Liverpool was a giant, living on memory. The club's history was immense, but its present was uncertain. The Premier League had moved forward. Rivals had grown stronger, richer, more stable. Liverpool, meanwhile, lived between ambition and frustration. Titles were promised, but never guaranteed. Great nights existed, Istanbul, cup finals, moments of glory, but they were exceptions, not patterns. For Gerrard, loyalty meant carrying hope when the club could not always protect him. It meant responsibility before comfort. It meant choosing identity over certainty. Fast forward a decade and Liverpool was no longer the same place. By the time Trent Alexander-Arnold entered the first team, the club had changed its structure, its ambition, and its relationship with success. Under Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool became a system, a project with clarity, a team that knew exactly who it was. This was a Liverpool that competed at the highest level every season. That won the Champions League, that conquered the Premier League, that offered players not just belief, but proof. For Trent, loyalty grew in an environment of fulfillment. Dreams were not postponed, they were achieved early. This difference matters because loyalty and uncertainty feels heavier than loyalty and stability. One demands patience without guarantees. The other grows inside success. You cannot measure both with the same scale. And that is why comparing Gerrard and Trent without understanding their eras misses the point entirely. Loyalty is not only about the badge you wear, it is also about the moment in history when you choose to wear it. For Gerrard, loyalty was never a comfortable decision. It was a weight he accepted long before he understood its consequences. From the moment he became Liverpool's captain, Gerrard was no longer just a midfielder. He was a symbol, a promise to a fan base desperate for revival, a reminder that the club still belonged to its people. Yet football kept offering him an escape. There were moments when leaving would have been logical, moments when trophies felt closer elsewhere. Chelsea came with certainty, Real Madrid came with prestige, and every time Gerrard faced the same question: win elsewhere or carry Liverpool alone. He stayed, not because Liverpool were winning, not because success was guaranteed, but because walking away felt like breaking something deeper than a contract. Loyalty for Gerrard meant accepting responsibility for failure as much as success. When Liverpool fell short, The disappointment landed on his shoulders first. When the team lacked quality, he filled the gaps with emotion, energy, and belief. And then came 2014, a season when the dream felt close enough to touch, when the burden of loyalty seemed finally about to be rewarded. One moment changed everything. The slip was not just a mistake, it became a symbol of Gerrard's entire journey, a career defined by effort, devotion, and cruel timing. He did not lose loyalty that day, he paid its price. Gerrard finished his Liverpool story without the league title he chased for years, but he left something else behind, a standard, a definition of what it meant to give everything even when football gave little back. Because his loyalty was not about comfort, it was about sacrifice. And sacrifice in football is remembered long after trophies fade. Football did not suddenly lose its soul, it evolved. The game Gerrard carried on his shoulders was built on endurance, on waiting, on believing that patience would eventually be rewarded. But football does not stand still long enough for everyone to wait. Money arrived faster, projects became shorter, careers were no longer measured only by loyalty, but by timing. The modern game stopped asking players to suffer in silence. It started asking them to choose. Clubs began to plan in cycles. Managers came...
About 10-15 minutes away, but I couldn't hold it in. I had to call my mum, my brothers and that. My mum got emotional and was crying.
It was something you were expected to reach quickly. In this new landscape, loyalty was no longer defined by staying at all costs. It became more complex, more personal. Staying could mean stagnation, leaving could mean growth, and neither choice automatically meant betrayal. The pressure changed too. Players were no longer just representatives of a club. They became global figures, careers managed under a microscope. Every decision analysed, every move questioned.
Gerrard, Carragher, he kind of just had a glow around them for me.
Football, where loving a club did not require self-destruction, where ambition and loyalty were no longer enemies, where leaving did not raise.
Sometimes let us on top of a car,
Understanding this shift is essential, because without it, every modern decision looks selfish, and every past sacrifice looks impossible to repeat. Gerrard's loyalty was forged in an era that demanded endurance. The next generation would be asked something different, not to carry the club alone, but to decide when their story had reached its natural end. And that is the football Trent Alexander-Arnold stepped into. Liverpool did not just trust Trent Alexander-Arnold, they built their future around him. From the academy to the first team, the club protected him, developed him, placed him at the center of a project meant to last a decade, not a season. He wasn't just a right back, he was the system's heartbeat, the next leader, a future captain in waiting. The badge was not heavy on his chest. It was handed to him with belief. The fans believed too. They defended him in difficult moments, celebrated him in the good ones. They saw one of their own carrying their identity onto the biggest stages in football. Liverpool gave him everything a local boy could dream of: trust, responsibility, love, and still, it wasn't enough. When the moment came, Trent chose to walk away, not because Liverpool had failed him, not because the project had collapsed, but because something shinier was calling. Real Madrid offered guarantees, trophies already won, money already counted, a shortcut to a different kind of legacy. And in choosing that, he turned his back on the one thing Liverpool believed was unbreakable. This was not a departure born from struggle. It was a decision made from comfort. To the club, it felt like betrayal. To the fans, it felt personal, because this wasn't just losing a player, it was losing the future they were promised. An unspoken contract was broken. The belief that some players don't leave because they don't need to. Trent didn't just leave Liverpool, he chose ambition over belonging, certainty over loyalty. And for a club that had trusted him with its identity, that choice cut deeper than any defeat. In football, betrayal is rarely about logic, it is about trust. And this time, Liverpool trusted and were left behind. For Steven Gerrard, loyalty was tested again and again, and each time the temptation was real. There were offers he could not ignore. Chelsea promised trophies. Real Madrid promised immortality. Walking away would have been understood, even applauded. But Gerrard stayed, not because it was easy, not because Liverpool guaranteed success, but because his loyalty was rooted in something deeper than ambition. He played through pain, through disappointment, through seasons where carrying the club meant sacrificing himself. Gerrard gave everything, even when football gave nothing back. And then there is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Unlike Gerrard, Trent was never forced to choose between loyalty and ambition. Liverpool had already given him both: trust, responsibility, a future built around him. And yet, when the call came, he chose to leave. Where Gerrard resisted temptation, Trent embraced it. Where one stayed and suffered, the other walked away at the peak of comfort. That contrast is impossible to ignore, because loyalty is not only revealed in moments of hardship, it is exposed most clearly when leaving is easy. In football, betrayal does not always punish immediately, but it always comes with a price. At Liverpool, Trent was untouchable, a guaranteed starter. The system was designed for him. Mistakes were forgiven. Trust was unconditional. At Real Madrid, nothing is given. Competition is ruthless. Patience is limited. Reputation fades quickly. Suddenly, the safety net is gone. Minutes are no longer guaranteed. Form becomes fragile. Injuries carry heavier consequences. Every absence matters. Every match missed feels bigger. And with that uncertainty comes another shadow: the national team. England does not wait. England does not reward reputation forever. With competition rising and roles changing, places are no longer secure. World Cup dreams can quietly slip away, not through scandal, but through absence. This is the cost of leaving certainty for ambition. Liverpool offered Trent permanence. Real Madrid offered possibility. One protects, the other tests. And in football, tests do not always end the way we imagine. Betrayal is not always punished by failure. Sometimes it is punished by instability. And for the first time in his career, Trent is no longer protected by belonging. Football loves to judge decisions in hindsight. When things go right, choices are called brave. When things go wrong, the same choices become betrayal. But loyalty has never been about guarantees. Steven Gerrard chose to stay when leaving would have brought comfort, trophies, and applause. He stayed when loyalty demanded pain, and history remembers him not for what he won elsewhere, but for what he refused to abandon. Trent Alexander-Arnold chose a different path. He left certainty for ambition, belonging for opportunity, and with that choice came risk, the kind football does not soften. Right now, that risk is real. Nothing is guaranteed. Minutes must be earned. Trust must be rebuilt. This is the part of the story no contract can protect. Because in football, loyalty and betrayal are not defined by press releases or intentions. They are defined by consequences. Gerrard paid the price of loyalty with sacrifice. Trent is paying the price of ambition with uncertainty. And perhaps that is the truth football never wants to admit. Every choice costs something. The only difference is when the bill arrives. So the question isn't who was more loyal. It's simpler and harder. What are you willing to risk for what you believe you deserve? If this story made you think, please leave a like. It helps these stories reach people who still care about the human side of football. And if you want more football told with patience, emotion, and context, subscribe to Football Chronicles. No rumours, no rage, just the stories behind the choices.